all over. Yeah.
Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Sewing Shenanigans. Is that what we decided on?
I don't know.
Somebody recommended that. I thought it sounded good. So, sewing Shenanigans. Or something. Yeah. Anyway, here we are at 4 Pines Quilting, Claremont, New Hampshire. Most of you watching probably already know this. So, and if you don't know that, well, you can find us in Claremont. It's one of those days. I'm out of it. Anyway, so I'm here to welcome you all.
There's those host puppies.
Yeah, we were having a fantastic conversation of our childhoods playing in cow fields. And I won't go into detail because it's kind of gross, and I'm thinking to myself, as an adult, I'm like, what were we thinking as kids? Anyway, so shop news, because that's what you really all come here for, not for me to reminisce about
Sound
firecrackers. So I have my shop news here on my handy dandy. It's broken. Okay, there we go. Quilt lead times. So currently we're still around 3 weeks out on quilts. I'm trying to get it down to 2, but we're still at about 3 weeks. So if you drop a quilt off, we should, like I said, about 3 weeks. If you need it sooner than that, we can usually make it happen, but count on about 3 weeks turnaround. Again, studio audience, if you want to join us here on this excitement, just give us a call and we'll get you tickets to be part of the live studio audience here at Sewing Shenanigans. Fill in the blank. We talked about it last week. Come get your fill in the blank. It's this nifty little Easter basket that I moved, so I can't show you what it is, but you can. If you go to our website, it's the first thing, bam, right there, because it was redesigned. Our website was redesigned, and it's featured right on the first thing. So 4pinesquilting.com, check it out. And Garden Guilds, which is this. This is going to be the event. What's that? Is it awful what I'm doing?
No. No.
These are just because we're getting the samples made up, and the next best thing from the samples is the pictures. So you just saw the pictures. Those are the 3 projects that we will be doing on April. Oh, let me fix that up. Oh, just moaned like an old man. So we'll be doing that 3 projects. It'll be April 11th from 11 to 5. All these things I gotta remember. So April 11th from 11 to 5. We are filled up for any in-store participants. So if you haven't signed up already and you want to be in store, it's probably not going to happen because we're full. But we have plenty of space available for virtual because we don't need space for virtual. We just need a bunch of cameras, which we obviously have because of this craziness that we do. So if you want to do the virtual thing, you can still sign up for that. But you need to sign up for that before the end of March, because if it's virtual, that means I've got to mail you out a kit, or we have to make sure you have a kit by April 11th. So the cutoff date is March 31st.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm not sure what day that falls on, but we're going to say March 31st because that gives me enough time to get that sorted. So the cutoff date for Garden Guild, like I said, is March 31st. All we have left is virtual availability, but virtual is almost as good as being here, as we've all learned in the Rona experience that we're all having.
Especially if you get together with a couple of your girlfriends in the safety of your own.
Shout out to Bonnie and the gang. I was trying to talk Bonnie into that down south.
Yeah.
Trying to talk
Their
her into.
own layout.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you get a bunch of people together, it's a lot of fun, just get all together, set us up on your big screen television, and it's just so much fun. It's like we're there with you. It's just amazing. Also, as we're talking about Timberbell, I'm going to get a lot of people excited.
Did the rest come? Oh.
Red, White, and Bloom. This is the fabric kit. I think we've got 6 of them available. However, I am still waiting on the patterns to come in. So we do have the fabric came in. I just got the bill for some of the patterns. So with a little...
Show how beautiful the fabric is. It's really stunning.
Okay, we'll do that.
I really like the floral.
Show people the box.
What's that?
Why can't you just show the box?
Because-
Well, the box is pretty
Because
too,
it's
but I really
rose.
like the floral.
All right.
Oh, where do we see the floral?
So this is-
Look at how happy
See,
that is.
this is what you get in the fabric kit for Red, White, and Bloom. See how exciting this is?
I do. I love the floral.
And some of
Look
these-
at that.
Oh,
What's coming across it? Really.
So, and then there's lots of like little quarter-yard cuts in here.
Yeah. Oh, they're so cute. I like
Some of these we already have in some of these we do have in the shop already, some of the coordinates, but then some of them are from the Red, White, and Bloom collections. We don't have them. So if you are interested,
Fireworks. Oh my God.
if you're interested in that, we have 6 kits still available. Half of them are, what's that?
You don't have 6 of available.
Yeah, we do. I reordered.
12, we have 12
Oh,
kids.
okay.
Yeah,
Six.
so like, oh, we don't have it. I ordered extras because the 6 that I was gonna have available, everybody already took. So we got another 6 coming in if you want to get on that. So we do have that available. Those will be available probably next week. I'm thinking. I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Let's hope.
And all of you Nebula people, no, Nebula has not come in yet.
They
We are waiting.
actually reminded us all that it is a block of the month.
Yes, it
which
is a
means
block of the month.
We're supposed to be on month 3 right now.
Yeah, I know.
And month 4 is in April. So the new shipment we shouldn't be needing until May.
Yeah, so
We need it now.
no, the next shipment is for April. Anyway,
I'm actually going to talk a little bit more about what
Anyway.
to pay attention to because not everybody
Becky
needs
will
it
get into
now.
Nebula, but all I'm going to say is if you're looking for the next portion of Nebula, it hasn't come in yet. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we'll have it next week. It might be here by the end of this week, but I'm not counting on it. So next week, if you're one of those people waiting for it, I know there's a lot of you. I've gotten phone calls from probably 2/3 of you at this point. And if I haven't gotten a phone call, we don't have it yet, just to let you know. The other big item of news that some of you might be excited about, because my understanding is we're going to get some more free money from the government. So I've got the perfect solution on how to spend that. Is a dream machine.
Yay!
I have
Oh.
2
You
used
put-
dream
you could've
machines.
Put that on the
It
counter.
was more fun to pick it up and pretend I was
All
eating.
right, okay.
So we have 2 dream machines that came in used because you can't get them new. They're hot commodities because
And
they
they are like
discontinued.
my favorite machine.
Yes.
Before the Luminaire.
Before the Luminaire. If you don't want, I mean, I can get you a Luminaire if you want a Luminaire, but it's going to be about twice the money what a used dream machine is going to cost you. So we got 2 of them in. We usually do a really good price. And the other thing too this month is there's some special financing promos that are running through Brothers, so we can really do good on the financing side of the approved credit and all that stuff. You know,
You-
the 5
Finance a used machine?
I can, yes,
For real?
I can.
What's the interest rate?
It's see, I was
Do you
okay.
really need a new one?
No, I
The
love
interest rate.
my brain.
I'm gonna I'm gonna go over. But years ago, one of my first jobs was answering phones at a credit card call center. So I learned all of the dumb tricks that they do, and one of them that always irritated me was deferred interest. So we do actual 0 interest for when we do stuff because I've got control on the back end because I'm a dealer and I'm special. So we the financing that we can offer, approved credit and all that fine print. So if you're some lawyer watching,
0 interest.
0% interest. It's not deferred interest. It's 0%.
No, I know. A
Yeah.
big difference.
No, there's a huge difference. So it's so that is available. Like I said, there's
How
all sorts
could
of
you
fine.
go wrong?
There's all sorts of fine print I'm supposed to throw in there with that. So if you're a lawyer, yeah, call me up and I'll give you the fine print details. I can't remember what they are.
And
Um,
it's for 60 months
We can do 60 months.
on a
yes.
used machine
Yes.
with 0 interest.
Yes.
Oh my
Approved.
Lord.
Approved
I
credit.
understand the approved credit card.
Yeah.
I get it. I
But
get it.
yes, so we do have 2 of
Wowza.
those available. I might have a 3rd one coming in as well. I'm working a deal
Wow.
out with someone, so you know we might have a 3rd one. So if you are interested in a dream machine, we have them here. We've got, like I said, right now is a really good time to get them because we've got a really good financing deal available. It's 0% interest with approved credit and all that stuff. I would tell you what it would cost you, but I am forbidden by contracts with Brother to advertise prices over the interwebs. So you got to call me, and I'll tell you the details.
Which will probably change now
Yes.
that Joanne's is selling Genomes.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yes.
But anyway, that's all I have for shop news. All that excitement. With any questions, as always, just give us a call here or shoot us an email. You can catch me at Brent@fourpinesquilting.com, or if you go to info@fourpinesquilting.com, it shows up in my inbox. And you can always catch Becky at queenbee@fourpinesquilting.com.
I didn't know you were going to
I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to say that.
Oh, man. Thanks a lot, Brent. That was a secret, remember? Not anymore.
But I just love the fact that it's Queen. I wanted to say Queen Bee just because you know.
Because of my pretty new apron.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting. But anyway, so all that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Becky, which apparently Eddie already turned it over to for me, so I can
Because I
now.
was talking about my pretty new apron.
Yes.
I couldn't help but show off my pretty new apron. Thank you, Danny.
You're welcome.
And it matches Brent's pretty new sticks.
in your blue eye.
Oh, yes, it does show off my blue eyes. Yes, thank you. So hence the crowns. Now the secret's out. Yes, mind you, and look at the queen bee. She put a little crown on my bee. Isn't that cute? I just think it's so cute.
What a fantastic little apron.
I know. And it's like our little sign-off, which you always forget.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, but this will remind you.
So on and be excellent to each other. You're just trying to boost those views for us, huh?
I cannot tell a lie. So this is the first time I've worn this gorgeous apron. And before the show, I always say, do I got time for a potty break? Yes, time for a potty break. Great, good to go. And I go and I sit down and I'm like, oh. The strings. So this is a fashion statement as well as keep it out of the toilet water statement. Because they were dropping in there. All right, let's see. We got a few minutes. I want to talk to Nebula before we go and do the quiz. Because there's a couple things that came up. And I know Brenda's done it. Danny's done it. I've done it. Ronnie hasn't done it. Ronnie's in the house! Hasn't done it. But I wanted to forewarn you on a couple things that I've seen people go, ugh. When you get to block 2, you are going to have directional. These stripes go in one direction. They're directional. So when you sew your blocks together, pay attention. The hexagons are easy, but these little triangles, they're equilateral. So you could inadvertently turn that triangle any way you want, and until you go to put your block together, you don't realize that it doesn't lie, that your stripes are all going wonky. Now, if you don't care if your stripes are wonky, because apparently somebody in here doesn't, if you don't care if your stripes are wonky, then you can forget everything I said. But I care, and I think you will too.
And that is actually one of the reasons why we don't carry a lot of stripes in the quilt shop, because nobody wants to take the time to keep them straight.
Well, on this one you have to.
Well,
I'm telling you, you have to, because if you don't, month 2 is going to look. Month 2 is going to look a little too wonky. So that's my tip on that. Same thing happens in month 3, which I am in the middle of. I finished it once. This is in the second one. You have directional stripes again. And this is what I was doing that made me go, oh, we better tell them that. Because I just had my stuff stacked up and I was sewing them. And then I went to go to this step and I was like, why does that one go that way? And I said, oh, got to mention it. In 3, you still have to pay attention to your stripes.
Well, that stripe has to go some direction in the middle.
It does. This is going to go together with this one.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I'm not done.
I got you,
Or
okay.
they go, I don't know. These 2 pieces are going to go together before I'm completed. And the stripes, you want this stripe. You don't want this stripe. See how these line up? What you don't want is one going this way and one going that way.
But they're equilateral, so.
So I have them all notched, so you can spin them around. Any which way.
That's what I'm saying. That center one, if it's equilateral, it doesn't matter which direction the center goes, does it?
It does, because I want my stripes to go like this.
Oh, so you're saying the 2 bottom corners are angled.
These are angled. This should be straight up and down to match this. These should
I got
not
you.
be angled.
And this is why I am not doing Nebula.
Okay. Well,
Because it would
anyway,
just be
so
a
beware
wonky
when you
mess.
sew these together. You want to pay attention to the stripes. Also, I initially said on Nebula that I wasn't going to do this block using the Cricut because you sew some strips together first, 2 at a time. And I believe when we get to month 5, we do the same technique. And I said, nope, can't do it on the Cricut. Well, surprise, yes we can.
Yay!
Becky has figured out how to sew and get at this. Was created with the Cricut. Everything on here. And look at it, it's like a puzzle. Went together like nothing. So we will be sharing that secret at some point when you come into the shop, because it is a little finicky, but it's still worth it to me to get it done and get it accurate. Some of the people, by the way, that I'm seeing whose blocks are not laying flat on month 2, it's because they did not pay attention. I don't say this to them, but
Throwing some shade.
it's obvious why their blocks are not laying flat. It's because their strips are not accurate. And if your strips aren't accurate and you just think, oh, you're going to keep sewing it together, that block is not going. If you try to line up your points, then the block is not going to lay flat because you created wonky stripes and you force them to line up. And you don't have to force it if it's cut accurately and sewn accurately.
And starched.
And starched. You know, that's my prep word. Definitely starch. I heard somebody say today, I don't starch because it makes it easier for me to play, to get the biases to move a little bit to help line things up. And I almost
Did you
screamed.
faint?
I almost did. If you starch and you cut this thing accurately, it does line up. So starch is your friend. If you start stretching it because you can, and you're using it to make it look good, I got news for you. It's not going to lie flat. This is the trickiest block out of all.
That is
four.
why I like quilting versus, like, say, machining or woodworking. You can stretch fabric.
No.
If you're working
No.
with wood,
See
you're
how
kind of
flat
in trouble.
if your blocks are not lying flat, stop, come in, and we'll show you how to fix it because it's not. You don't want to keep going. You're going to hit more of the style.
Just get a hotter iron if it's not like
No,
flat.
no. So anyway, that's my tips. I was going to show you another tip on this, but we're going to wait because I got some other stuff I got to get done. It's off of that. All right, we're ready for a quiz. Yeah. Are you ready?
Oh, I gotta
Jody
get a shout.
Mace is in house.
I gotta get Carrie on.
Hi, Jody.
A shout out to
Nice
Carrie
to see you.
because Carrie's a
my
member of
Florida
the
bud.
School
Oh,
gang.
thank you, Carrie.
Yeah.
I think so
She
too.
said she was a newbie.
Yeah, she's one of the original.
So, let's review the quiz rules. All right, peeps? These are questions that were answered by watching last week's show. Now, you didn't have to watch it live. You had all week long to watch the show, or not. I don't know where I was going with that. However, you must be live to win.
Yes.
And the winner gets a $10 gift certificate. And the beauty of this gift certificate is we can email it to you, and you can even use it on our website. Yes!
Because we want to go international.
To anything
That's
the shop has,
That is
right?
correct.
Which is so cool.
Because it keeps my life easy. I don't
Now,
understand.
here's the trick, though. I'm sorry, I got it on my phone. Okay, here's the trick. I have 3 questions. The winner gets all 3 questions right. Do not hit return. Don't answer question 1 and hit return, and then hit answer 2 and hit return. No. Wait, I'm going to give you 3. You're going to type them in and not hit return. Then, the first one to have all 3 answers correct wins. Are we ready?
I mean,
Yeah.
but you could hit return and give everybody else the answers that are waiting to get all of them done.
That's not how I play.
But what I'm
I'm
saying
not
is,
playing how I play.
I'm just saying if
I
you
told you
did.
it's feisty.
I'm just
I
telling
told
you,
you I was
if
having a
they
feisty
did,
day.
if they did do it, it's all right. It just is not going to win. They're just going to help everybody else
Oh,
out.
my sakes. I got to go. You have a horse puppy.
You're going to throw things out.
I know. Okay, question number 1. What was last week's turbo tip? Eddie hasn't got my music yet, so you gotta watch me dance.
Yeah.
Strumming the pins there, Ed. Okay, question 1. What was last week's turbo tip? Number 2. What analogy did Becky use when I was talking about the binding for the quilt? It has something to do with baking.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Number 3. What was Brent's favorite new gadget?
That's when you get the green blanket.
All right. Anybody?
Yeah, no.
Come on, Jody. Come on, Ronnie. Come
Yeah,
on,
like-
Carrie.
You got like a 1 in 10 chance of winning.
Okay, those were too hard. How about Brent's favorite gadget?
What's my favorite?
His favorite new gadget. Even Brent doesn't know what his new gadget was.
Is it baby?
I'll give you a hint. Do you need hints? People,
Yeah.
do you need hints?
Oh my God.
Nobody's saying anything. Say something. Turbo tip? Turbo tip?
Turbo tap and go.
Okay, let's pick one.
See, now we have a
two,
little bit of a lag, but
Any.
give us the answer to any of those questions and they get to win.
No, I don't know. The more you get, the one who gets the most.
The one who gets the most.
Yeah. So
The most correct answers.
last week's turbo. Yeah, that's what I meant.
The
Last
closest to
week's
the actual
turbo
retail
tip.
value without going over.
Turbo tip, people. What was the tip?
Turbo tip.
Hint. It was Danny's dollar store trip on Sundays.
Yeah, but that's like every week. So.
I know. I said Sundays. It's where she goes on
You're
Sundays.
gonna be like a bag lady. Like you're gonna be
And
like.
she
I
came
went
back
today.
with a turbo tip that I really liked. So I showed it off.
I got it.
Oh, I remember now.
Put it.
See,
it
I would-
it
I
looks
would-
like this.
I would lose the quiz myself.
Okay.
Well, why don't you just give them the answer at this point?
I know. They're still not answering me. Are they shy?
I got one.
Okay.
Make it
The
all-
second one. What analogy did I use when I was talking about binding? I said something that rhymes with make.
The makeup brush is wrong.
No, that was 2 weeks ago, but
Okay.
good try, Ronnie. Okay, I said it rhymes with make. I said making a quilt is like making a cake. Putting it together, piecing it, is like baking your cake.
Yeah.
Putting the quilting on top of it
Clearly.
Is the frosting?
is the frosting on the cake. And putting the binding on the cake is like come on, Deb.
I think Deb wins. She got the turbo tip.
Well, so far, okay. All right, Deb's the winner. Woo!
Yay!
She got one right before anybody else. And the answer was yes, piping happy birthday. It's like putting happy birthday on your cake.
Yes,
Oh.
that's what the binding is.
I guess I
I
gotta
thought it was
get
icing.
easier, but the binding is like writing the happy birthday.
How much easier can you get, though?
Cake.
We have
And
a
Brent's-
formula.
Brent's favorite gadget was the USB stick with a little
Yoda.
Oh,
baby Yoda.
Yeah.
That,
See, I thought it was a gadget that you
Green.
had, not the gadget
no,
that
I
I
said
had.
your favorite
Okay.
gadget. But it doesn't matter. We get
Deb
but,
wins.
okay, that was a good try. Candles, that's close.
Deb wins.
Writing happy birthday on your cake. Yay, Deb!
Yay!
She's in the game! I love it!
Deb
Thanks for
rocks.
participating. Now I got some more GC news. GC is gift certificate. More GC news. If you share a turbo tip with me, or someone in the store who then gives it to me, or you share a failed gadget with me, and I use it on the show, and I will ask you first, of course, can I use this on the show? If you say yes, and I say good, I'm going to use it on the show, we are going to give you a $10 gift certificate to share with the community. Because that's what this is all about, actually, guys. It's about not knowing everything, not doing everything right, but just learning, and sharing. And that's, frankly, I'm going to get a little sappy on you now.
You're not allowed to cry. It makes me uncomfortable when you
It's
when people
very,
cry.
quilting has really been a savior for me, especially during this last year. And it's not just quilting, it is the community here at Four Pines. I had a really crappy day today, and coming in here just puts me in a whole different world. And I think about what we've all had to go through, and I wouldn't want to do it without this gang. I really wouldn't. It's a great community, and my sister is responsible for getting me into quilting, believe it or not. And she was able to come up and visit this weekend, and it was like the good old days where we spent a day and a half little of this, a little of that, but mostly quilting. And it's
You're
just,
gonna tell me there was no wine involved?
there was no wine involved.
Okay.
Not
She's
a,
on the wagon.
no wine. No wine. Might,
And Lynch?
might have been a couple margaritas. But no wine. It just reminds me of how special this craft can be. And the other thing that I really had to ponder about is this last Saturday I was in showing somebody how to quilt who had never quilted before. And she's someone I've known for 20 plus years. I mean, I knew her when she was a little lady. And it reminded me how exciting it can be to not just learn something new, but you're sitting there and you're working together and you're learning something new, and how rewarding it is, not just for the person who's creating it, but I feel so rewarded when I can show somebody something. Now, granted, typically I say, now look, I take a lot of crap in this shop for how I do things. Okay? If you want me to teach you, I will teach you. But no, it is me teaching you. So after you do it my way, if you want to throw it to the breeze and go on your merry way, feel free. I'm not insulted. But if you ask me to show you how to do something, you're going to do it my way while I'm standing there next to you. So, but it's still very rewarding.
I
Maybe
was gonna say, if you want to learn to quilt properly, yes, let Becky teach
well, it's
you.
not it's not
No,
properly.
if I do it, it's gonna teach you all the lazy shortcuts, and it's not.
Well, so, a
And
lot
my
of people are
nebula-
very happy with lazy shortcuts.
But my nebula blocks would not lay flat. I can tell you that.
No, they would
That's
not.
why I'm not
They
making the
probably
nebula
won't.
blocks.
They want flat blocks. All right, so thank you for listening to that. I just wanted everyone to know here and there, and those that I haven't met yet, that I hope will come in and I do get to meet, how important you are to my sanity, and I probably aren't important to your sanity, probably just the opposite, but that's okay.
Well, Carrie said that you've made a great ending to her day, and she thanks you.
Oh, well, thank you. See, that makes me feel better. Okay, so now my terrible tip of the day. Guys, I got a hint for you. The terrible tip will be on the quiz, on the quiz next week. Okay, just saying. Okay, so pay attention right now, all right? The terrible tip and the gadget field kind of go together today. A wonderful viewer sent me this. And I said, what the heck is that thing? And she says, oh, it's a specialty thread spool adapter. What do you need that for? Well, for metallic threads or, other threads because they break or they don't come off the spool right. So I said, let me give that puppy a whirl. The first thing I did is read the name and go, yeah, right. The Thread Director changes the orientation of the sewing machine spool pin.
There's so many bad jokes I want to.
I know. This, guys, this was $30. And you can still get it for $30. And if you want to spend $30 on this, I'd rather you give it to me. Okay. First of all, let's see how ingenious this goes on the machine. Can we catch this over to me? I don't know who these people are. First of all, this is very thin and wobbly.
I just want to know how they're changing the orientation of things.
Well, wait till you see. It goes on your bobbin holder, which goes like this, and it tightens like It tightens like this. Now, normally they're referring to thread that you probably have on here, okay? And it's pulling off like this as you sew, right?
Okay.
Everybody's got that, right? So they're saying, well, if you put it on here, like this, this is really fine quality. I can't even get this.
I think it's supposed to be the smaller spools.
No, this doesn't fit
Oh,
the thingy-hooey.
because it has special ones on the desk.
Oh, I'm using the wrong one. Thank you. You're right. I'm using the brother one. Sorry. Yes, let's get one of the special ones because theirs are a different size than all the other spool hats you have. Okay, so now when I pull this out, you see? Now it's coming from the side of the spool.
Nice.
See how it changed the direction of my thread? And now you expect fabulous results? You don't see fabulous results. Let me tell you how not to buy one of these stupid things. Because, by the way, I can't even use my bobbin winder when this thing is on. Almost looks like I could play horsey with it or something. I don't know. So, for nothing, my friends, for nothing, the first thing you're going to do if you have a finicky thread, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to stand it upright. Brent, you took my thingy.
It was in the way.
Well, it's not anymore. I need
Oh,
it. Oh, you even cut my thread. Oh, my Lord. Okay, the first thing, Brent's got something up his sleeve.
I was just wanted to get a
The
quick.
first thing you're going to do is you're going to stand up your thread, okay? That's the first thing you're going to do. Because it's it, I don't think I ever put my threads this way anymore. Just have it, I guess. That's the first thing you're going to do. Now, you're going to do that with Floriani, and you're still going to swear at me. You're still going to say, it breaks, it's breaking, it's breaking, it's breaking. So, guess what you're going to do with Floriani?
Even Eddie's laughing at that one.
All you do is tip it upside down. Turbo! All you do, really, because and it truly changes the direction. Think of it. Here's why I laughed about changing the direction. That didn't change the direction of it coming off.
It changed the orientation.
Yes, but that's not what they said it was. Oh, you're right. Okay, darn you.
Because I want to make bad jokes.
What happened? Yeah. Okay. What happens is the way the take this off. The way this is wound on here, okay, is opposite of how this metallic wants to come off. On a normal thread, the thread is tough enough that that's not a big deal. With metallic, it is a big deal. So if you turn it upside down, now it's literally, see how it's unwinding in its natural state? See that? And how relaxed it is? And that's all you do is turn it upside. Now, it's still nowhere near my favorite metallic thread in the whole wide world, which you can stand upright, sideways, both upside down.
Can I give
What's
in
it
for a
called?
second?
Yep, King Star. King
Okay.
Star metallic thread beats them all. Beats them all. What?
I'm going to show you a couple things. First
Okay,
off,
yay!
if you bought a Brothers sewing machine from us
Yes.
or anybody,
Do
you got
do
this little
do
gadget.
you need it?
What?
Yes, we have that gadget.
Do you know what it's used for?
You're going to show us.
I'm going to show you.
It's going to orient the thread.
It goes on your
See?
spool. Now, I know Becky thinks we don't need to reorient thread. I'm going to now give you a science lesson of why you
Okay.
need to orient your thread. You know why? The thread spools are sewn two different ways. This is your traditional. Let me get over here.
One is.
If you look
straight.
closely,
Yeah.
if you see there, that is on a crisscross pattern. And I couldn't find, the best I could find was this, it's
That's a more finicky thread.
it's wound straight.
Yeah.
So if it's wound straight, if your thread is wound straight, it is designed to pull off the side. It was wound so that as you pull it, it's not going to twist. If it's
Okay.
wound in a cross pattern, it's designed to pull off the top.
Okay.
So that's why you'd want to change your orientation if you have a straight
I would
line.
agree with that type of thread there. I still wouldn't buy this thing for $30.
Oh no, I wouldn't either because this comes with your sewing machine.
Yeah.
And it does the job. It's just saying.
Okay.
But it's how it's wound because if it is wound this way, you do want to pull it so it spins when it comes off.
Yep.
If it's wound across, you don't
Yeah.
want to spin it.
Typically, I put the straight ones. If I am going to have problems, I put them on here. But I can see how that would be a better use. to
Yeah,
have it
because
on
if-
that way. The other thing is the relaxation time on those things, though, too.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it's important to have a higher thing
Yeah.
on the specialty threads.
A longer thread path.
And
Yeah.
another thing you can do is to put your, let's say you don't have these fancy spoolie things, you could put this in a cup and let it unwind further, put it in a teacup, and that gives you all this space for that thread to settle down before it starts going through all the tension bars. So, gadget fail is the thread doctor. The thread doctor.
I thought it was the thread director.
The thread director.
What is
Oh
it?
yeah, but I like doctor.
Doctor would make more sense. Director
It is
is
thread
just like.
director. It is. That's the fail. Save it. How this is $30 is beyond it. I asked, is this a scene on TV thing? So there's lots
I can tell you how they sell, because there's been many a time that some individuals come back from Quilt Market with some of the dumbest things I've ever seen. But they saw them demoed, and they're like, "This is the greatest gadget ever."
well,
I have a binding tool somewhere on the
not
shelf.
anymore. Not anymore. So Danny,
You have to pick that up though. I'm not doing it.
all right. So there's the turbo tips and the fail gadget all in one. Brent's you got your machines got one. I didn't even know that, Brent. I probably went, what the heck does this go to?
You might not have it on the Luminaire because of it's got the two spools on there, but it should be in there because that's what it's designed for, is to actually.
I know I have it on the other.
Yeah,
other
the
machine.
little one.
I've never needed it, so. All right, so now, my
It was never
friends,
used
we
for
need to
simple.
talk about what we all came here for, and that's binding. Part 3, binding. I did not know binding was so informative. Oh my gosh, it goes on.
I know
and
we
on.
started this a couple weeks ago. We're like, oh, we're just gonna do binding
Yeah, I
tonight.
can do part 4 too, because it's all about, do you want to take it up a notch?
This is gonna be like the binding show. We're gonna be doing bindings for the next year.
And I'm just like, oh, there's so many, but
It'll be like a Netflix special,
what I
like a
did,
limited
as
run
promised,
series.
I prepared my samples 3 different ways. Just a refresher. This is close to Brenda's way. I have it ironed, and yes, I used my glue to attach it.
That wouldn't be my way then.
I know, but it's on the back of the quilt,
Oh, okay.
and it's with a 1/4-inch seam.
Okay.
Speaking of glue, all 3 of these samples I'm doing and will do tonight, I will not be using pins. I will not be using clips, because you all know you can, and I showed you can. I will be using this. This is Little Elmer's glue. Somebody asked me, because I do add water. Why do I add water? You don't have to add water, people. A lot of people use it full strength, but I have little kitten wrists. So, yeah, that's what my sister calls it. So getting the glue out of the bottle when it's brand new and thick is really difficult for me. So that's the first reason I add water.
Did
Is
she
I
call you
wanted
that
to
when she was irritated with you, or when she was like, "Oh, I love my sister with the kitten wrist," or like,
when they broke.
"Damn, Becky and the
When
kid."
they broke.
Oh, I don't want to hear anymore.
So I want it to come out fairly easy. I don't know. Can we see that dripping like a cow milking?
I'm a cow.
That's why there's cows in the picture.
There we go. See how that's dripping out of the bottle with me scoop? If when it first comes, it is so thick I have to like, and I don't want to. So that's the main reason why I add water. How much water? It's like frosting. I go like this. Does it sound like it's moving well? Good. Now, this, if it just falls out, is way too much water. So I usually, on this size of bottle, will probably just take it down to this line right here, the label line, and add water, and then shake, shake, shake. Can you hear it shaking? If you can hear it shaking like I can hear it shaking, that is probably a good consistency. Now, let me tell you, if it's too thick and you got to put it in this little bottle, Brent is losing it over there. If you got to put it in this little bottle and it's too thick, guess what? It doesn't go in the bottle. It bubbles up and it falls out all over the place. That's when you know it's too thick. You want it to fall into the bottle, not get all stuck on the top with a big gooey mess. So I know it's the right consistency when it falls into the bottle. Well, see, I can even go a little thinner. See how it's hugging the side? You can't see, but that's okay.
Wait, you can't.
All right, that's all right. Just so the reason I add water is convenience, people. convenience. That's all. There's no scientific blah, blah, blah. And it works just as well, and it's easier for me to also squeeze this little bottle. Because once again, if the wrists are a little too big,
Little kitten wrists.
little kitten wrists, you want to be able, you want it to come out of this bottle easily. You don't want to be like, ah, ah, ah. You want it to be an easy squeeze. So that's why I add water. But guess what Pines is going to do? Because we've had a couple people interested in these little bottles. They got hold of some.
Yes.
And the first 5 people who come into the shop and say, hey, I need one of those little squeezy glue bottles, they're going to get to pick one up for free.
And Deb, Stelling, if you're watching, we got one for you.
First 5 people. Oh, you're going to give her one
I'm going to
too?
give one to Deb because she came in looking for one, and she has to pick one up. We'll have one for her.
Oh, awesome. Hear that, Deb? There's one waiting for your name on it. Well, she, yay. Okay, so you're going to, first 5 that come in and ask for one, gets one. And in addition to that, you're going to sell some, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah. We'll
You're
sell them.
gonna, so that you don't have to go buy 20 of them.
Yeah, because you have to buy like a box
Yes,
of 20.
because you're going to learn that Becky uses this for more than just binding. I do a lot with this little puppy. So, all right, enough of the
I
glue
can
ball.
only imagine that demonstration putting on earlier what you're doing.
Okay, so this is binding on the back first. Okay, this is binding on the front first with 1/4 inch double fold. We talked about all that stuff. This is no fold yet, binding on the front with a 1/2 inch seam allowance.
And that's the magical Becky way.
This is if you were coming in and asking me to show you how to put binding on. If you were saying I wanted you to show me how to quilt, I would show you I would show you this method as well. But this is my preferred method. Yeah. But this is fast. This one is fast. All right. Keep in mind they all have the mited corners. Remember, we learned how to miter our corners perfectly with this little puppy or a ruler, basically getting at 45. We were to the point where we just needed to join the strips. We got to this point. Now, I'm not going to bore you all. Well, I might. All right. Here's Brenda's crisscross method. I call it crisscross method. Because what she's got to do to join her strips is, first of all, she has to figure out where they're going to meet up. Okay? Now, I cut my strips 2 1/4 inches. A lot of people cut them at 2 1/2. The process I'm going to show you the same. It's just a matter of how much fudge factor you want in your binding. First thing she's going to do is she's going to say, okay, my binding is 2 1/4 inches. So therefore, I need them to overlap 2 1/4 inches. Brenda's looking at me like I don't do it that way. You just eyeball it again?
No, there's actually a trick, so you don't have to remember anything.
Oh, then why don't you show me that trick?
Well, the trick is you already have, is you overlap the binding one width of the binding.
Right, that's
Yeah,
the
the
2
1/4 inch,
1/4.
but if you actually just cut a piece of the binding off and lay it on top of each other, that's how I do it.
Oh,
But
That-
okay.
No, you
It's still the
It's the same idea,
width of the binding.
but you don't
Okay.
have to get a ruler out.
I cut it 1/4 inch shorter than the width of the binding.
Why do you not do that?
Yes, and I was just going to say, if you are going to put fudge factor in there, fudge it to the small end, because if you go too long, you have to pucker the binding to make it work. Whereas if you cut the binding a little bit shorter, you can stretch it.
Interesting.
You don't need
Though-
to stretch it. It lays right.
Yeah, it lays
down.
right, but what I'm saying,
so
you've got that.
Brenda's saying I should only overlap it by 2 inches.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So she's gonna take her binding. She's gonna say, picture. We're gonna overlap them by 2 inches. Brenda, do you care if it's the top binding or the bottom binding that overlaps?
I put the top over.
Over the bottom. Okay. She's a topper.
I'm a topper.
So, she's going to line these up, and she's basically going to cut one of these. I'm just using scissors. I would never do this with scissors. I would rather cut it. But I want to show you. She would then go like this. She'd say, I want this to be overlapped by 2 inches. I do 2 1/4, but Brenda's assuring me that 2 works, right?
On mine it does.
Minus a quarter. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm nervous about that, honey. I'm nervous.
Well, you
Don't
should,
do it.
You should have. You don't have enough space in there to begin with.
Well, I know.
Okay.
I know. It's a small sample,
Okay.
but I'm going to be able to
I
demonstrate.
like bigger.
But they're
samples.
cut on
I
bias
know.
anyway, so if you do have to stretch, it'll be easy to pull it.
I'm not going to stretch
Do
it.
I'm
2 1/4.
I am going to
Bang.
do 2 1/4 because that's what I know.
Okay.
But Brenda's my highness. She's the highness in the shop. So she knows a lot about her binding. All right, now again, I'm sorry, you do not want, you want to put your ruler on and get it right, but I'm not going to sew this whole thing, so I'm being a little lazy. Next thing she's going to do is she's going to take these guys and she's going to do exactly the same thing she did in the beginning. Down here. She's going to crisscross them. Remember the little old man who needs a belt? See, I still remember the little old man who needs a belt. Which way am I going to sew it? That needs to be a question. Which way am I going to sew my little man?
That's what I always mess up.
That, see? It's a little man and it needs a belt.
I don't understand. The legs are
The legs, these are his legs
okay.
and this is his waist.
Okay.
Because I always get it back. This is why I hate this method. Hate this method.
I end up taking it apart like 12 times,
Yep.
and then I have like.
So if
I have
I'm,
to do the fudge factory with the children.
yeah, so, and Brandon likes to overlap it. How do you overlap it if you took a 1/4 inch
I
off?
don't overlap them.
Oh, you don't on this one.
No.
Okay.
I
All right.
make them even.
Okay.
See,
Well,
I actually cut mine before I do all the overlap stuff, so then I just pin it and sew it.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, I don't. I just sew them.
yeah, we know. She eyeballs it. She literally takes.
There's no eyeballing. You go from corner to corner.
Anybody that's watching this that
See,
hasn't done binding
she goes
before,
corner to corner. Why don't you come up and sew this one and show the
Oh, you
next
go right
method?
ahead. You're fine.
No, right here. It's also. Oh no, you cut my thread. You.
I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it.
Okay. Brenda, come on up and sew this. Okay, now Ronnie likes to use the clippity doo dah method. Not Ronnie. Danny. Ronnie's looking at me. I don't even know how to bind. What are you talking about, girl?
That's not true. I bind like Brenda. Except I never get the men's.
So this is the front. So she's going to do the same idea. You're going to find out. You're going to overlap your binding. Sound familiar? By the width of your binding. So she's going to do the same 2 1/4.
Is that like a Three Stooges
Where are
impression?
my
or something?
glasses? I need my glasses. There they are. Help me, help me. I need to be able to see. Are you going to wing it? Are you going corner to corner? Winging it,
I
Frank?
thought I was going to.
Good.
Do you need the glasses?
No, I was gonna turn the laser on so that
The laser was on,
you have the grid on.
which is better because it shows you.
Okay.
Did you change my setting? It was
No.
set to 1/4 inch.
No, I haven't touched it.
So you just lined it up on that.
But I'm going corner to corner, right?
Yeah.
So what do I need the 1/4 inch for?
No, you don't.
You good?
Corner to corner.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You can change that.
Oh, you know what you can do, which is you look like you've seen this. Where I can change my angle.
It's so small.
See? Because now I can.
Now you're showing off the luminaire.
Yep. So I can line
So-
that up.
Danny has to open hers up the same way. Remember? And how Brent actually put them right sides together and cut, or no, you did this and then cut. But I showed Danny make sure they're on top of each other, right sides up. Get your little clipper doo out. Oh, this is easier on a quilt. This is such a small sample. I have like no room to work. If this were a quilt, I would have left this much space to work.
Balance.
Cut these
Yeah,
head
come
off.
on, finish it. I
Cut his head
want
off.
to see how it looks there, pumpkin. Okay, so
Did that just make those noises?
yes, it's talking to
It
you.
sounds like Donkey Kong from back in the day.
Okay, I'm gonna make you do Danny's too. Look, I got an apprentice now. I love it. Makes me go faster.
Probably should have started this a week ago.
I guess.
So I'm just trimming this to a 1/4 inch.
Yeah, and I don't like dog ears. Just saying.
But there shouldn't be dog ears.
Oh, this is so hard to do this tiny. Oh my gosh.
See, I would do one at a time just because
Because
it's
it's
too
hard.
tiny.
It's hard. I'm just eyeballing.
Oh, I always do it
She's
one at a
not
time. You
rushing
do both
to
at the same time?
Yeah.
She's back.
If it doesn't come out right, it's your fault.
That's fine.
You're making me do it.
Now, did that come out right?
Came out fantastic, but
It's lying flat.
Oops, I didn't cut the. See, I don't have the ruler that Deanie has tonight. She would have notched this. I'm gonna notch that.
now you can see this is where the quarter inch would have come in because you see how it's a little bit. Like you gotta
It's baggy.
you gotta
It's a
pull
little
it.
baggy.
Yeah, so if you would have,
So what do you do if that happens, Brent?
well, it's too late now because it's sewn.
It's not too late.
It means you have to unsew it, and I have a rule: you can't
You
unsew.
cut it too.
I already cut. No, that's why you.
No, but because you're gonna make it smaller.
Yeah, well, if I had cut it the quarter inch off like Brenda did, or the I usually do an 1/8 inch, but a quarter inch would work too.
Okay. So now, you know, I'm on a quarter-inch foot probably.
No, I can have all that.
That's hard because it's so tiny. You can rip them open further if you want. Basically, this is the same thing we did in the beginning, only we're doing it at the end. It's the same thing.
Pro tip that I always like to do when I'm doing this, even on a quilt, this works really good,
Yeah.
is take the time, fold your quilt where it's coming together,
Uh-huh.
put an extra pin in it,
Oh, I like that
so then
tip.
you're not fighting with the
I
fabric.
like that tip. That's a
So,
good
so,
one.
so now it's really easy. And it makes a big difference on like a big quilt because it keeps trying to open up on you. And with that, and on the small one, you can make that much. But, you know.
All right, I'm gonna show you my method.
What do you mean holding out? Nobody knows these secrets because they bring the stuff here to make me do it. Nobody asked me how to do it.
I've actually heard you tell people that one though.
I like that. I like. Okay, can I have overhead?
Okay.
Now I'm gonna show you how Becky does it.
Oh, good. I've been anxious to see that.
Just like I did in the beginning. I take and I fold one of these down. I'm gonna hack off the extra. I got more than I need. Oh, she's getting me close now. I'm just hacking off some extra because I got too much. Okay? I fold this 45 degree. Remember in the beginning how I did this? Yes?
Yes.
Actually, I could have done it here too, but I cheated. And I had a line. But basically, you just fold this back. Here, let me read. You're on my iron.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me do this. Okay, all I do is fold this back, like I'm doing origami, to make these points meet, right? Isn't that cool?
Very.
Easy, right? Then I'm going to take this guy, and I'm just hacking off some extra fabric, okay? Because I don't need all this fabric. I'm going to lay this, oh, don't even need that much fabric. Just getting rid of extra fabric. Ooh, I like that.
Hey, Eddie, if we get
Perfect
150
length.
subscribers, will you make us music?
That's the perfect
Okay.
length. It's lying nice and flat. It's right where it's going to go.
I will make up people just to sign.
Yeah.
And
If you-
all you got to do, my friend, is stitch in the fold. It's clearly visible.
The red mark?
No, in the fold.
The fold, okay.
I did that to, and then I changed it.
Okay.
So forget that. Stitch right, in the fold.
fold.
Right in the fold.
I want to know how you turn it.
You're going to see that next.
Oh my
Good.
god. What was that?
Oh, I just ironed on my cutting board. Not good. That's how I keep going
So
through
if
these.
enough people subscribe, Eddie will make us music, you said.
I'll make music. Where's the other samples? I'm going to show how to turn all these. Nicely done, Brent.
I got some skills. I won't pretend to have a lot, but I've got some.
Okay. Gee, what? I don't have any bags,
Another
no
pro-
problems, no
Another-
guessing, no nothing.
Something to keep in mind when you are ironing your bindings after you've done your quilt.
Yes.
If
Did you
that
see me just pop that open?
If the quilt has high loft or any polyester batting in it,
Yeah.
be conscious conscious of the heat of the iron, as I have flattened quilts before, not paying attention as I iron.
Really? Because I am going to show you I like to iron my binding.
Yes, I have seen people iron bindings, but if you're using like a dream puff,
Polyester.
like a high loft poly, which is the real nice cottony stuff, you put an iron on that, turns it right into some nice interfacing for you.
Okay. All right. So now, Brent, I'm going to glue this down so you can sew these.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go into weird method. Using that. Now, see, I now I'm closing this up. This is the last stitch. I get your spool. You get some more spool. We're gonna. This is a 1/2 inch seam allowance on this one.
So I need to sew that at a 1/2 inch.
That's a 1/2 inch. The other two are going to be at a 1/4. They're making work. Oh no, see, this doesn't fit. That's shitty.
We're gonna rate this video.
Okay, that one didn't work.
But I didn't cut that one. I just gave it a 1/4 inch seam.
And this one we said was too big, but it's not. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that was not bad. That was not
It's
bad.
just a
That
little
other one there, I'm
cockeyed.
not sure
It's
what
just a
was.
little cockeyed. And
Well,
it's,
yeah, well,
well, I know.
you knew what you were getting when, you know.
That's why I prefer my method. Brenda, just so you know, though, I would still glue. I know you don't. You just go. But on the when you turn it over, you pin. No,
No,
you don't even pin the other way.
no, ma'am.
Oh my lord. Well, this video isn't for people who already know how to do binding.
Or it's for people that want to do better bindings.
Or different binding.
So I'm just doing 1/2 inch.
Or
seam on
just
this.
another way.
This is 1/4 inch.
1/4 inch, 1/2 inch. You got.
That's 1/2 inch. Hey, notice with mine, I didn't have to change my foot for nothing. But then we go because I want them to see how Brenda attaches the
Is Brenda gonna do it?
the face.
Brenda
Brent's
should
going to.
What am I gonna do? It's don't look too close.
Why do you have him assisting you?
Oh my God!
It
Can
changed.
y'all see this?
It changed on me. Hold on a
It
second.
didn't. This isn't.
I-
This is not straight.
I had it set.
If it looks like this, you don't. I hope I can demonstrate with that funkiness. Okay, no matter what method I'm putting it on, and this is what Brent said. Oh, if it's polyester, I press my binding
Well, as long as you.
out.
All I'm saying is.
And this is where Brent sewed, so don't judge me on this because he did a crap-appy job.
Were you gonna say half-assed?
Crap-appy.
I think we can say half-assed because
I didn't. I said
when I set up
crap-appy.
when I
Now,
set up the
turning.
stream,
No
I say
matter
it's not for
which-
children.
Oh, okay.
No matter which method we have here, I want you to keep in mind that I want you to think about the miters going opposite. By that I mean that on the front, I have this one on top, this one underneath. So when I'm on the back, I want the opposite to happen so that I ease up the bunching underneath. Brenda, you do that?
Yeah.
Jody said that's how she does it.
Yep. I also
What? Which way?
I also take a tiny clip out of every cut, and not a big clip, people, especially if you're doing the double fold. I like to take a tiny clip out of the corner. There's just too much going on there. Not a lot. It's a tiny clip, because you still want nice square corners. So when I go over to this side, I'm going to just do this top row. Oh, did you see that turn?
Yeah,
Isn't that beautiful?
that's the way it's supposed to turn.
Except for the spot that I sewed. It's
Yeah,
not
I'm going to not touch
She's not-
that
it's not
side.
gonna- it's not
We're
gonna
going to
turn
let
that
that
edge.
side just sit there.
It's not going to turn quite
Okay,
that nice.
now look what I can do. Now remember, I've starched this, so I'm the boss. This has got memory in it. It knows who the boss is. I take it and I fold it right up to the edge, not too far. You don't want to roll your edge over. You want it right up to the edge. Now I go right up to the edge and then I just simply pull it back till it's on there. And then, oh, look at that. Look at that. I know this is going to be my stitching line on the front. So that is now my measurement as to where my fold goes. So if I take this and I make sure it covers this little fold. Yes,
See how nice my line is right there?
Your
See on
line
the
is
screen, look at that.
awful. It's awful. It's awful. And now I will go right along in the corners. I will end up gluing it all down. I'm just using this line of stitching that was created when I did the front to be my measuring stick. And I've got a 1/2 inch of play here. So, I mean, even with Brent's mess, I probably can make it look good. I'm not going to try. But I'm just, and then after I get it like this, I'm just going to glue it down. And truthfully, I would glue on the other two the exact same way. Now this is what I want to show you when you get to the corner. Oops, maybe I didn't get enough glue on there. Did I put glue on there?
I don't know, you were making
I
sound
think
effects
so.
for it, so I assumed. What's that?
So I would go around and I'd do this to my entire quilt. And what I wanted to show you is when I get to these corners, see how this one is underneath? This one is underneath and this one is over. So this, in this case, I want to make sure I fold this one over and underneath, and this one above it. Does that make sense? Opposites. Can we see that? See how over here, this one's under, and this one's over? So on the back, this one's now over, and this one's under. So I should have probably glued this whole strip down first. Do this. I always do the sides first, and then I come in and do the corners. Like I'll come in and I'll go all the way like to that far, doing my measuring on all my sides. Do all my sides. Boom, 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 boom.
Did you coordinate your nails with the binding for tonight?
I did. and then I do the corners last. Glue the corners in last, making sure I look at what's going on the front before I do what's on the back.
Very nice.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense to people?
Other than why would you wait for the corner? Like, shouldn't you go?
Because you watch. I'm going to go in the middle here. I'm lining up with that silly stitch line. That's so easy. I'm not worrying about the corners yet. They're going to fall right into place, Danny. I'm going to go all the way around and just leave my corners. Leave them to the end. So I'm coming, I don't know, what am I, about 1 inch from the corner?
Sure.
Oh, this is Brent's side. Oh. I don't know about this one. We're just going to do a fudge factor here so we can show the
I'm
corners.
gonna try to do all my so it'll look like I did it.
This
It's
is
fudged
your,
it.
no, this is your, but you see how it's behaving because it's starched? And I'm just flipping it. I'm not measuring. I'm just looking at my stitch line. And then one more, and then I'm going to show you how easy and I glue the corners too. So by the time it goes to the machine, there's no pins, there's no clips, there's no nothings. And I know if I stitch in the ditch on the front, that I'm going to catch my back. How do I know that? Because I use that seam to line up the fold of my back. So there's just no way you can screw it up.
Unless you
Don't stitch in the ditch.
or unless you have a really awesome seam to start with, like I put on that one
Well,
side for you.
yeah, I tried to ignore that, but anyway. So that's that. And then again, so now all I've got to do is worry about my corners, and that's when I peek at the front. And I go, oh, that's kind of messy. This one is going under, so I know I want it over. So I just basically, keep in mind it's just glue, so I can pick it up, put it down 1,000 times. Just basically do that. And glue it down, and we'll give you this. I'm not going to do them all. What I would do is I would literally glue my corner.
And then I'm just gonna stitch in the ditch on the front.
You are. And I have a stitch in the ditch foot.
Okay.
So we're not going to do the whole thing, but
Not a stitch in the ditch foot. It's a joiner.
It is an extra one. Well, to be honest, I don't use a stitch in the ditch foot. When I do it, I just go in the ditch.
Yeah, that's what I was just.
Okay.
I was just gonna turn the laser on and put it in the ditch.
So see what you have on the back? Can we see how this looks? Is that showing up? See that mitered corner? And if I'm not happy with it, it's just glue. I can pop it open and fix it if I want. Come on, Brent. Isn't that beautiful?
It is. I'm not.
See, here's this where I would be like. This iron probably should be. Just turn it. Okay, so now you're going to sew from the front, Brent, and you're going to come. You're going to stitch right in this ditch to this mitered corner, and then turn this corner for us.
Okay.
Everybody see how pretty it is before Brent touches it? It's look at front and back. It's very accurate. Okay. Now, Brenda's a nice little trick. It's over here. She started on the back, which I think is lovely. Again, the reason I start on the it's lovely. The reason I start on the front and go to the back is I don't know if I'm going to hand bind it, okay? So, hand sew it. So that gives me the option at the very end. If I know I'm not going to break out the sewing needle, then starting on the back is a great option. And I would still do that. I don't like the double fold method. I think it's too bulky for my likings, but it's very popular. Brenda, do you clip your corners?
No.
No. Becky's clipping corners.
Doesn't put a hole in it?
No, not clipping. I'm not just clipping just a little bit. Just a little. The quilt has got bulk. Plus, this is double layered, so there's a lot of stuff going on in that little corner. So I'm like, get rid of some of it. So now when we go to the front, Brenda doesn't even clip or pin or anything.
All right.
Let's be honest.
So just give it to Brent, just like that.
Well,
that's how I roll.
Now, aren't those corners nice? Don't they come right over?
they did. They came over beautifully.
Right.
The reason I don't like 1/4 inch though is I find it harder to get to a second side.
Ooh, I'm good tonight, Becky.
To look, I like having a little more wiggle room. How'd it look?
Is it where it's supposed to be on the front?
What did you do?
No, I'm asking. Does it look right from the front?
Yes, it does. Which would you didn't sew this one, right?
I didn't go all the way upstairs like
Okay,
right there.
yeah.
Looks good, right?
Yeah. You didn't catch my binding.
But I sewed in the ditch like I was told to.
Oh no, you didn't. There's your stitching right there.
Yeah, but what's it look like on the front? Is it in the ditch on the
You're
front?
not in this. You're not in there. No,
That's
you're not.
why I
Look,
don't do
there.
that.
Look.
Okay, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, he's a good 1/8 of an inch outside of the stitch.
That's why we use thread that match.
Now, in my defense, if I was going to do this, I don't believe in stitching in the ditch. I would have gone an 1/8 inch to the inside.
Which is what we're going to show next.
And the reason, I have a reason for this.
Oh, Brent.
I can fix it. There's a seam ripper.
You don't need to fix it. It's just
But if you're ever sewing stitch in the ditch, one of the things I always recommend to people is offset yourself to 1/4 to an 1/8 inch. Because if you are off your straight line, it
and
looks.
this isn't even in the
I know, that's where it started. It was a rough start, but see, that's what I'm talking about. If I'd been an 1/8 inch in, you can wiggle that line a little bit and nobody can tell. If you're in the ditch, you come out of the ditch, everybody can see it.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
1/8 inch gives you a little bit of room for a.
That's why I
That's
don't
what
do
Brenda
it.
does.
That's
So
why I don't
okay,
do
you take it just like this. So change to the edge foot. Here's
No. I'm not using the edge foot.
You are doing the edge foot.
I'm going to use the bi-level foot.
That's what I
Yes.
mean.
Oh, you have
Yes.
bi-level in there?
Yeah, I did.
Alright.
That's what I wanted to show. And this is a magical little foot, Brent. Talk about that foot.
This is a fantastical magical foot.
Is that the right side? I got those.
No, I need the other side. Now this foot comes in 2 different sizes.
Two different sides.
Which? Oh, that was good. Just killed the power. Which camera can I get close to here?
You killed the power?
So that foot there, if you'll note, yeah, step on it. If you look at the back,
It has a bump.
there's a little bump. See it from the side, so it comes in two sides, the left and a right. And I believe it's the right that you want for bindings.
Well, depends if you're left.
Yeah, a left ear. Well, that's,
I use
but the
they come in
idea,
handy.
but the idea is that bump is going to ride next to the binding, and so it sits down a little bit, so the binding butts right up against it, because the thick part will ride up there where that indent's at.
Yep, so go for it.
Don't forget to move your needle over to the
Yes.
extreme right. Left.
Move your needle to the extreme.
Left.
Make sure you have an elongated hole on your machine.
Yes, you don't want the single hole needle plate for this.
This is how I feel. I feel I would love to combine my
Don't start it right here. Start it in the middle.
I usually start in the corner, but
I like
Make sure it lays
the
flat.
edge foot a lot. If you don't mind seeing the stitching on the front of your quilt. So what I would do is turn it into something a little bit more decorative. A decorative stitch.
Yep, you can. But they take forever.
yeah,
Right?
they're
They
gonna-
do take forever, but then you're like giving an excuse for stitching on the front of my quilt. That's the only thing. Like I would use I don't know, something to make it look more than But again, you make sure you match your color, which I tried to tonight too.
The color of the binding
The
for
binding.
the top and the color for the backing
On the
the
bottom. Because what's going to happen is Brent's going to be sewing. Let's see.
You gotta do it right.
Oh my God, isn't it?
I'm not.
Okay, y'all get the point though. You need a little edge foot, right? And you sew the edge foot will nuzzle up against your binding. This is where having a double fold is handy because it gives you more room to you nuzzle right up against it. You move your needle way over, and as you're sewing, your needle is catching the front of the binding. And on the back, it's already attached.
Yes, and if it's done correctly, you'll see the bottom thread, the bobbin thread, is maybe a
Yeah,
quarter,
let's show.
just a
I
quarter
didn't
of an
start with
inch,
quarter.
maybe.
Well, that's okay. The turning corners, it's the same thing no matter what technique
Right.
on your mitering the corners on the back. So what he's got on the back is he's got a line of stitching. Ooh, that doesn't look good. I can't see it.
Let me better focus. There we go.
He's got now Brenda's line would look better than this. Just saying.
See, I'm here to make y'all feel good about yourself.
You are. This
Doing a bang up
Could-
Well,
could-
what's going to happen with this technique is on the back, you're going to see a row of stitching just below the binding that you put on. Hopefully it will be straighter than
Now you can
this.
show them the front. Though,
And
the
I
front
will.
looks-
And
the
you
front
would
looks good.
match your thread on the bobbin
Mine don't look like that.
No,
Mine
no.
I hate
to match the back of this.
And
That's how
that,
you
Brent, is
do
why
it.
we have you do the bindings and not me
On the front,
for our samples.
on the front, what you're going to have is you see because he hugged. Where am I?
There you go, right
There we go. Phew. He hugged the binding with his little, what do you call that foot?
Bi-level foot.
Bi-level foot. And so when he stitched, that looks pretty good along there, right? Oh, it's opposite. That's what's funny out. It looks pretty good on the front. But
And
you
now-
will see it on the front and the back.
If you take your time and clip and pin on the roll, so you line it up like you want, you can make it look better on the back. If you want.
Yes. Yeah, no, no, those things shan't be there.
Shit.
But you will see
Thou
stitching.
shan't.
You will see stitching on the front and the back with this technique.
Yes. But I mean, if you're giving it to a kid to drool over and drag through the mud, I
Well,
mean,
that's why you have to weigh your options, and
That's right.
not everything is going to work for everything. I think what I prefer, and Danny, you would use basically the same thing I did, stitch in the ditch.
I actually do what
You do the bi-level too?
I do the bi-level.
Okay, well that would work. I don't want to see it on the front, so that's why I hide it in the ditch.
Oh, see, I'm the opposite. I hide the back because mine looks like the other seam.
Okay. Well, that's and like but the bottom line is those are all you're going to see some thread somewhere. If mine was done correctly by Brent, you would see stitching on the back. But can you see this, Brent? The part you did right.
The part I did right.
Yeah. And now you don't have to change my bobbin. Front and back.
Oh yeah, no.
The binding. The thread is the color of the binding. And if it's done correctly, you will see nothing on the front, and on the back, you will see a tiny stitch on the binding, not on the quilt.
Yes, it would look professional if I had sewn it properly.
And that's why I like that best. So, anyway, my gosh, man. Any questions on binding? No, good, yay.
How can anybody have questions?
All three methods. I know Brenda disagrees because she's an old pro at it. And if you're an old pro at it, God bless you. But all three methods, I prefer to use the glue, hands down.
I'm sold on
I'm
the glue.
gluing it, and I'm going to the machine, and I'm making sure my corners look beautiful before I even get to the machine. Whether I'm starting from the front or I'm starting from the back. That's a non-thing for me.
Well, I think that's a good way to do it if you're really,
Anal.
yeah. Okay. No, if you want something that is going to be as perfect as it can be because you're going to put it in the show.
No, if it was the show, I would hand bind it.
Yeah.
They would not accept it. Machine.
Right,
So
right. But the way you do it to make sure that it's just right, I think is
Yeah,
good.
I don't like seeing it on the front. That's just, if I'm going to see it on the front, I'm going to use a decorative stitch. Or one of the other popular things real quickly that people do is they use a serpentine stitch. Have you guys seen that? Where they snake it all the way down because then they don't have to worry about whether it's not a straight line. I don't have to worry about it lining up with anything. So they go like this. But again, it's like me writing happy birthday on the cake.
But keep in mind too, from a charity quilt standpoint, a lot of times they would prefer them machine bound instead of hand bound because
Yes.
they're going to hold up better.
And that's why I would do the hold up better. Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
I'm just saying from a wear and tear standpoint,
Don't get me started.
done properly by
Maybe
hand.
if your hand's
But
so
done properly by hand, it doesn't make a difference. I agree. But if you are a charity accepting donations, it's much easier to say machine your bindings and machine quilt your quilt rather than say, well, if the quality's good enough, we'll take it. Because,
Have you seen your machine binding?
but it's not going anywhere. Have you seen my hand quilting? My hand binding? I've got two at home I got to replace.
Anyway, binding. It goes on and on and on. I think we've killed off binding, Brent.
Okay, so shall I bring us out? I mean, yes. We'll get serious for me. Thank you for joining us again here at Four Pines Quilting. I don't want to do the Masterpiece Theater thing, you know. But anyway,
Shenanigans.
sewing